Hello, this is Chef Scott. I'm continuing our teaching artists and assistant training for the summer, and we're going to cover camps, classes, and workshops that Chefsville does. The most important thing that I want to stress about our camps, classes, and workshops is that we want to help kids process what they're doing. We want to pull them off autopilot, and we want them to really understand what's going on around them in the real world and what some of these dangers are in the kitchen, how to prepare food properly, and how not to just wing it and guess at it, but really to go to resources that are available for them to use so that they can actually accomplish small tasks. And when they get to self-confidence, they'll go for bigger tasks, and then they'll go even bigger. That's what we want to accomplish all around cooking. Now, to do that, we need to create an atmosphere where the student or the camper, the participant, really feels a strong sense of belonging in our program. And it's up to each teaching artist and assistant to make that happen. No one else is going to do it for you. We want to encourage a place where kids can process feelings, where they can handle behaviors, they can learn to resolve conflict, they can gain confidence and skills in decision making. So please be sure that they have a very strong sense of belonging in our program, that they are appreciated to be in our programming, and that we want them in our programming. Changing behaviors and attitudes may take some people a long time, some shorter, some longer. And that's why we have a week-long program, so that we can actually get kids into a groove where they're used to who's showing up, they're used to the staff, they're used to our environment, and we've laid the framework on day one on how we're going to get kids through our program, how we're going to do our recipes, how we're going to do our activities, when we're going to run around and play. And all this is really important, that kids fall into a groove where they know what to expect. And if you can build this environment, it's going to be a great help. Now, to help you do that, one of the things that we have, of course, forms, is I've actually taken the time to do a list of cooking skills. And the idea is that this covers skill categories, equipment, ingredients, and preparing food properly. And you can see that there's a whole lot on here. Believe it or not, by the time the kids get to the point where they come to some of our competition workshops, they're going to feel really comfortable knowing a great many things here. And they'll be able to really push and excel in those competition programs. That's what we want. We want to build kids who are cooking as a sport. That's going to be so much fun for them. They'll have the time of their lives. Also, the number one thing that I want to stress is that kids, and unfortunately many people that we hire are teachers. Sorry, teachers, I got to take you back a little bit. And that is this form here on how to wash your hands. You know, you guys are so wonderful. You're trying to get kids through, and I can imagine the days before there was sanitizer. I remember those days. I was alive. Look, gray hair. Now, I know what it's like to be frustrated getting kids through the line, getting them out, washing their hands, come back. 12 to 15 minutes goes by, and you're doing this 2 or 3 times a day. I get it. But when we're around food, number one, the classroom sizes are smaller. There's more bathrooms available. And we actually have to, I've got to do this to you, sorry. One, we have different procedures because we're working with food. We have to rinse, wet our hands. We have to soap up our hands. You know, you can just do this. And for those who are Star Wars fans, what we want to do is get the kids to do the Imperial March. You know, dun, 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 dun. Have them do that and then break in and tell them that's a little too long, but they'll get a kick out of it. The fact that somebody's saying something hip and new, like Star Wars. And the next thing we got to do is, rinse it, and then the fifth one, dry. The sixth is a classy move. It's one of my favorites. Just take that wet rag and wipe down the counter. I think it's embarrassing when they get this big line of wet across their waist because somebody didn't wipe down the counter right in front of them. It's just, guys, we don't care. We're slobs. But some of the girls may care, and it may be something that number 6 is just a really classy move. Just wiping down everything and then throw everything away. Another form I have is the general planning notes for volunteers and instructors. Now let me explain what that covers. It covers planning ahead. It covers what to do before each session. It covers what to do start and during the program, as well as end of session and meal times. And it's an important read, and I want you to take the time to get to know this. All of you, there's links on this YouTube video. There'll be links to our website where you can actually print these off, and we hope you find them very helpful. The big thing is planning ahead. On the first day of the program, you must know where the first aid kit is. You've got to know where. Some of the programs, we build a kit. Sometimes they're available in the rec centers. We just need to know where and who to go see if we need access to it. The second thing is I've already covered it, and that is the permission letter signed by the parent or guardian. You've got to have that filled out. It is so critical. Next, I've got another form that's really interesting, and it is the student contract. Sometimes you run into some students that are real hard, real difficult. They're going to challenge you on everything, and we understand how tough that is. This is a student contract right here. We found that in our cooking clubs with schools, that some kids really tested our patience. Had we sent them this student contract home, they would have never caused us problems. And we're trying to find a way to even make this better, where it goes home and gets printed out when they register, either by email or somehow. That we send an acknowledgement letter and that this is part of it attached. And we were going to tell the students or the campers to have that at the first day of the program. This asks them for their names, and it says that they will cooperate. It says that they will take responsibility for all work assignments, including cleaning. You don't want to sit here and clean all night, do you? It says they're going to have respect. Respect is good. And it says behavior. I will conduct myself according to the rules and requirements. And then they got to sign it, and their parents sign it. This will give us some behavioral control. It'll give some expectation as to what we expect. And if the kids keep breaking it, you all are going to be filling out incident reports so that I can monitor how the kids are doing, and you'll be able to monitor how they're doing. If it gets to the point where we have to call the parents or send an email, at least you got backup paperwork, you got the promise of good behavior, you got the kids' commitment during the program. And if it starts to break down, we can engage the parents and enlist them to helping us with some of these behavioral problems. Going back now to the planning guide, planning ahead, we're going to want you to prepare a student or a camper participant information binder. Now this is going to have all of the forms from the parents that they sign, along with what the child's food restrictions, allergies, and everything are. Any complications where the child maybe has ADD, ADHD, high-functioning autism, or any other handicap or shortcoming, that should be listed. And if you have that in the front of your binder, and then before that goes the attendance sheet. Now, the Parks and Recreation Center will give you an attendance sheet. This is ours. You can use the Parks and Recs because they have boxes for each day where the kids are supposed to be in attendance. That's fine. They got the names here. All we got to do is check it and go. Richardson is a great example of that. So if we have this attendance form, we're ready to go. But if you're ever somewhere that doesn't have it, then we're going to have to ask the Parks and Rec Center to print it for you and let them know it's for attendance, where you check the boxes, and they'll take care of you right away. And it also tells you what to do in an emergency, who to call for any particular camper. That's really important. And the next thing is determine which instructors and or parent volunteers will be responsible for the student information binder. You've got to keep it on you at all times for the activities you're doing that day. It's very critical. It always should be handy. Your assistants should know where it is. If the assistants are the keepers of it, great. Maybe I want to see it. They'll bring it right back. But this is where you can also put your planning notes and how you're going to execute the program. You can also put in, use it for recipes and all the things that we're going to do, the activity sheets, word finds, picture searches, mazes, puzzles. It'll be great. Use it, have it, and we can even put 2 or 3 or 4 days, the whole camp. We put it all in there at one time so that you have everything, and your assistant doesn't constantly have to run back and forth and bump into us in order to get recipes and activities. I'm going to take a break now, and we'll be back. We're going to keep going with the general planning notes for instructors and volunteers.